Well, let's move away from simple arrays and into more complex arrays. Well, I personally don't think that associative arrays are more difficult, but you can be the judge of that. If you're familiar with another programming language, associative arrays are pretty much just dictionaries, for example, in Python. So, associative arrays allow us to use strings as keys instead of integers. So, let's look at the previous example, person. So, we're going to go ahead and copy this. We're going to create a new file, and I'm going to name this file 10 Associative Arrays.php. Okay, and inside here we're going to paste this person array. So looking at the array, we wouldn't know what some of the elements represent. For example, what is 32? 42.5 and true. We could deduce what everything else means, but it would be better if it was explicitly stated what each element means. So in associative arrays, in key value pairs, you would have a value like this, and you would have a key prior to that. So the way you define a key is by specifying the key followed by this arrow syntax, which is just an equal sign and right bracket. Then we would do the same thing for the next one. This is age, and we would specify like that. We could also say SSN, use our little arrow syntax to specify, hey, key value pair. Email is this key. For this one, we're going to say fave decimal. Move it towards there, and as you can see, we have a string key and a float value, and that doesn't matter. We can do that. What is this? Is awesome. So now we really don't even need to list these little notes for ourselves because we explicitly know, hey, this is a favorite decimal, this is awesome. So let's create a couple more. Occupation, we had in the previous one, and that was author. Book title that I wrote was an illustrative introduction to algorithms. We also had a blog link, and that blog link just went to http://@dino.Kajic. All right, great. This looks pretty good so far. So before we saw how we could output each value, and it was just by using the index as our selector, right? So we would say something like echo person 0, and that person 0 would output the full name. Well, this time we have the key, so it's pretty much exactly the same thing. So we can just say echo person, and then specify the key this time, which would be full name. Whereas before, like I said, we would specify 0. So we can go ahead and save that. And we can look at our page right here, and we can see that, there we go, sure enough, it says Dino Kajic. Just like previously, we're going to be using this div statement, so I'm just going to copy this from the previous tutorial, put that right there, and then move this inside here. So this is just for some formatting purposes so that later on everything kind of moves to where it's supposed to. So just looking at this, now we know for sure what we're calling. So the indices have been replaced. So we cannot call person 0 anymore. Let's go ahead and give it a shot and see what happens. Or if we say person 0 and refresh this page, it says boom, undefined offset 0. So we've successfully replaced it with full name. Now we can mix strings and integers for our keys, even though we shouldn't. So we could say something like, let's say we add another key to this, like person 100 is equal to, I don't know, hey there. And then we can do our var dump person just to see what everything looks like. If we refresh, we get an array, and if you see right here, We have our keys, full name, age, blah, 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 all the way down to 100. So we can use this 100 now as our value for our index right here. If we were to display it out, we can unset array element similarly. So we'll just go ahead and unset this first one, or the last one that we did. So we'll unset this person 100, and we'll unset, let's say, person SSN. And then we'll do another var dump of the person object and see what it looks like after we've unset those two values. So this one and this one should be gone. And sure enough, as you can see, both of those are gone now. Similarly, we can modify an element. Let's say we wanted to modify our age again. We would say person age is equal to 33. Before it was 33. And we use our age key to access that value and then store 33 in there. Let's go ahead and save it. Let's do another var dump person, see what that looks like. Hit refresh, scroll down to the bottom, and there it is. The age field has been modified, that element. So if this was a little bit too confusing, let's go ahead and create another associative array from scratch. This time we'll call this car, and it's currently an empty array. So let's set year is equal to 2008. Make, that's going to be equal to Porsche. And model is going to be the 911, which is pretty much the only Porsche that actually exists. We could go ahead and then do var dump car to see what that array looks like. Hit refresh, scroll to the bottom, and there's our array. It says year, that's an integer, 2008. Make is storing string Porsche, and the model points to a string that says 911. And that's pretty much it. I mean, that's really all there is to it. As far as associative arrays go, it has a fancy name, but it's a pretty simple concept. Next, we're going to be tackling something a little bit more challenging, which are multidimensional arrays, but I hope to simplify it enough that you will never be scared of hearing that term, regardless of how many dimensions we go down.